Hi there, this is the answer key for the elimination worksheet 1, and I'm going to be going through not the first two because I went through those on the video that you should have watched originally, so I'm going to go through the last 8, and I'll go through them quickly, so I want you to really follow along and pay attention to if I'm using addition or subtraction and which variables I'm eliminating so I can solve for the other ones first. So, this first one, we have 3x plus y. 3x plus y equals negative 14, and negative 2x minus y equals 9. So you can tell right away the ones that are opposites, or the ones that have the same number coefficient, would be the y. So that's what we're going to cancel out. And since they're already opposites, we're just going to add the whole thing together, because we don't need to change one of them so that they're opposites. And if we add everything together, we have negative 14 plus 9, that's going to be negative 5. And we have our equal sign that goes through. Those will cancel out, and then we have 3x minus 2x, which is just x. It's just 1x. So guess what? We already have x equals negative 5. Alright, so that's part of our answer here. Negative 5 is our x. And we'll figure out the y real quickly here. What I'm going to do with that then is to plug that negative 5 back in for one of the x values. So we'll just go with the first one. You can always do both to check, but I'm going to plug it right back into there. Since we know x is negative 5, we can replace any x with negative 5, because that's what x is. So here we'll have, instead of 3x, we have 3 times negative 5 plus y equals negative 14. All right, and that would be negative 15 plus y equals negative 14, since 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. And then we'll add both sides, 15 to cancel out that negative 15. Add 15 here, and you get y equals, that'll be 1. Negative 14 plus 15 is 1. So that makes our y value equal to 1. So our solution is negative 5 and 1. Alright, let's do the one to the right here. I will delete all of this. Whoops. I'm going to cancel all of this work here so that we have enough room for everything else. And I will just move that up there. Alright, so we have x plus 3y equals 18, and we also have negative x plus or minus 4y equals negative 25. So what I'm looking for to cancel out is something with the same coefficient. And if you look at the x's this time, one is negative, one is positive, which is perfect. But they both would have the coefficient right in front of them, the number of 1. But we can add these together. So let's add the two together. Okay, when we add them together, that's going to cancel out the x's, because a positive x plus a negative x cancels out to be nothing. A 3y plus a negative 4y would be negative 1y equals 18 plus negative 25 would be negative 7. One step to solving for y is dividing by that negative 1, because that's the coefficient, and to undo that multiplication would be to divide, and you get y equals positive 7, because the negative and the negative cancel out. So we have our solution would be the y is 7. We just have to figure out the x. So let's continue here. Let's plug in 7 for y somewhere. Let's do it for the first one. Why not? So you should have x plus 3 times 7 equals 18. And that'd be x plus 21, since we know 3 times 7 is 21 equals 18. And then lastly, to solve for x, subtract 21 from both sides. If you do that, it cancels out here. X equals 18 minus 21, negative 3. And we'd have negative 3. That was a really bad 3, so I will rewrite that. And that is our solution, negative 3, 7. All right, let's go on to the second row. First one here. We are given x plus 4y equals negative 3, and x plus 7y equals negative 12. Now, if you notice here, we're going to take a look at those x's again. But in this case, to eliminate the x's, we have to make one of them opposite. So what we're going to do is we're going to subtract everything here. We're going to subtract this whole second equation. And to subtract the whole second equation, we apply that negative to all the different parts. So this would actually be plus negative x plus negative 7y. And 2 negatives here would become a positive, so we have plus 12 there. And to do that, then, we'd get over here, negative 3 plus 12 would be positive 9. The x's will cancel out because that's what we wanted. And then 4 minus 7y is negative 3y. And you might already tell the one step to solve for y is dividing by negative 3 to get y equal to, since that cancels out, negative 3. All right. And that's the first part of our solution here. So we will put our solution negative 3 is the y. Alright, and then to solve for x, we are going to plug that in for one of the y's. I'm going to go with the first one again. Plug it in right there. Since that's y is actually negative 3, we will do x plus 4 times negative 3 equals negative 3. And multiplication comes before addition, so we'll have x plus 4 times negative 3, which is negative 12, equals negative, equals negative 3. And to undo this plus the negative or this minus 12, you have to add 12 to both sides. You end up with x by itself, since these cancel out, equals 9. So our x value there is 9, and that would be our solution, 9, negative 3. All right. I'm actually going to minimize some of this right here. We will group it, make it smaller. Homework is still there, but fits now. All right, just one to the right here. We have 3x plus y and x plus y. So looks like the x or the y's this time have the same coefficient, but they are the same. They're not opposites. So in order to make them opposites, like the last one, we are going to subtract all these parts. And to subtract, you apply that subtraction to all the parts. So it would be, instead of it, we'll add negative x, negative y, and this will be positive because it's an opposite there. So then following through, we have negative 21 plus 5 would be negative 16 equals, brings down, the y's cancel out, and then we have 3x minus x, or 3x minus 1x, is 2x. Divide both sides by 2. X equals negative 8. All right, let's carry that negative 8 into one of these x's. Let's go into this first one here. So we have 3, instead of 3 times x, it's 3 times negative 8, plus y equals negative 21. And you might know negative 20, or 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. And to undo that negative 24, I didn't want to write that underneath there. Negative 21. We're going to add 24 to both sides. Cancels out here. You have y equals negative 21 plus 24 is actually positive 3. So our solution we'll abbreviate there, equals negative 8 and 3. All right, we're halfway there. And we're only almost 10 minutes in there. So let's finish these off quickly. So first of all, negative x plus 9y equals negative 5, and x plus or minus 5y. These, we can see the x's are just going to cancel out because they're already opposites, so we're going to add the equations. So we'll have negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4. Okay, x's will cancel out. We have 4y. Divide both sides by 4. You end up with y equals negative 1. Okay, let's take that y, plug it back in right there. How about? So we have x minus 5 times negative 1 equals 1. And we're going to go from there. We're going to do this minus 5 times 1 would be x. The negatives become plus, and then 5 times 1 would be 5 equals 1. Subtracting 5 from both sides, you end up with x equals negative 4. So our solution for this one here is negative 4, negative 1. Now, just a reminder, if you want to ever check these to make sure your order pair is correct, you can always plug back in your x value and your y value in for each equation to see if it ends up being correct, meaning the left side ends up equaling the right side when you plug them in and do your simplifying or your solving there. All right, so we're going to use purple over here for this one. We have negative 7x minus y equals 13, and 8x plus y equals negative 14. I'm just going to add these two together again, because look, you can see the y's will cancel out. They're opposites. So negative 7x plus 8x is actually just 1x, or x, and that's equal to 13 minus plus negative 14, which is negative 1. Boom, we got our x. And let's plug that back into this x right here. This is going to be a quick one, I can already tell. And you should have 8 times negative 1 plus y equals negative 14. That would be negative 8 plus y equals negative 14. And lastly, add 8 to both sides. You end up with y equaling negative 6. Put that together, you get an ordered pair of negative 1 and negative 6. That's your solution. All right, 2 left. Let's finish this up strong. We'll do the one on the left. Looks like we're going to do some adding again. Adding with, so that the y's will cancel out. They have the same coefficient, but they are opposites. So we add them all together. We have negative 2x plus 4x would get you to positive 2x. Y's cancel out. You have your equals 10 minus 14, which is negative 4. Divide them both by 2, and you get x equal to negative 2. Halfway there, we got the hard part done. Let's plug in this one for right there. And we'll have negative 2 times negative 2, because instead of negative 2 times x, we're doing negative 2 times negative 2, plus y equals 10. That would be 4 plus y equals 10. I'm not sure why that is the way it is right now. And subtract 4 from both sides. If you get your y all by itself, you can tell that y equals whatever 10 minus 4 is, and that is 6. So we have y is equal to 6 and x is equal to negative 2. And our solution is negative 2, 6. Last one. Last one we have over here. And let me move some of this over. Whoops. All right. We have x plus 7y equals 24, and x minus 9y equals negative 24. We'll go back to blue here. If you notice, the x's have the same coefficient, but they're not opposites. So we need to subtract the bottom one. But remember, to subtract the bottom one, we have to subtract every part, just like subtraction of three-digit numbers or something like that. You have to subtract all the numbers, and this time we have to subtract all the parts. So in subtracting, you distribute the subtraction to each part and change this to a plus. So we're going to make this a minus, and make minus negative would be a plus, and minus negative would be a plus here. This is what we're doing. Now it's addition problem. 24 plus 24 happens to be 0. Whoops, nope. That happens actually to be 48. Sorry about that. The x's are going to cancel out, and then we have 7y plus 9y, which ends up being 16y. And divide both sides by 16. You should end up getting y is equal to, let's see, 16 goes into 48 3 times. You can use your calculator if you need to, but that would be y equal to 3. So then again, part of our solution, the y is 3. And last step, take that y, the 3 for the y, I'm going to plug it back into the first one. And you end up with x plus 7 times 3 equals 24, which would be x plus 21 equals 24. And lastly, we subtract 21 from both sides to get x by itself equal to 3. So our x is also 3 in this case. And our solution would be 3, 3. So that is the answer key video for elimination worksheet 1. I hope this helps. This is basic elimination using addition and subtraction. We'll see you next time.